Rule number one. Ow!
I mean,
By the way, Jazz, what is the weather like in Peru all year round? Climate and average weather year round in Lima, Peru. In Lima, summers are warm, muggy, arid, and overcast, and the winters are long, cool, and dry/wind. That definitely sounds like a great country that knows how to sustain 110-degree weather.
Yeah, warm and muggy, bro. There you go. You guys should take it. You guys should win, bro. Peru should win. That's just the bottom line.
By the way, welcome everybody.
They'll be favored.
Sorry that we start the show with something straight out of left field, but Jazz here thinks that Peru should win automatically when they get to Qatar because of them being Indians. I don't know what that means.
First, I thought he was talking to me, and I'm like, my ancestry is there. I'm pretty Americanized at this point.
Oh man, the warm mugginess, bro. Perfect there.
Oh man,
this is called 5R football. It's not called 5R football. I mean, it is.
Apparently, it is. That's why I found out the name of the show when I was talking to Manny before.
Because we already have content with soccer in it, so it's just combining.
Well, they should have thought about doing this. Anyway, so how you guys doing, man? World Cup draw is finally
excited.
Finally happened.
Very excited.
Pretty cool.
No, Kai, I actually don't have my old Twitter. I actually went through a very deep personal thing, so. I unfollowed everybody because I have a new Twitter.
So. All right, let's focus here.
Yeah,
let's focus. Out.
All right, we're like USA over here.
Yeah.
Anyways, how do you guys feel about the whole thing? Before we get into specifics, how do you guys feel about all the groupings, everything that went down? Which, by the way, first of all, did they have to go like for an hour and a half with this whole entire spiel and gig and Idris Elba?
This is standard for a draw, man. There's all the pomp.
Goodness.
By the way, I just loved how our broadcast is switched over from trying to understand what they were saying. Like there was a woman guest, and I would love to hear what she was saying.
Yeah, I didn't understand what she was saying either.
They went back to the panel, and I'm like, really? We're not gonna do subtitles here? We're not gonna understand a word?
maybe they didn't know how to put it in subtitles.
I would like to know what she's saying, and then all of a sudden it's like,
be useful.
It's like, oh, Alexi Lala. So where do you think the U.S. is gonna draw? Dude, he's been talking for like an hour and a half already. I don't want to know.
Yeah, Alexi Lalas does not need to be on TV. Period. Like,
I'm
sorry, like that level of analysis is just.
I can do
not
without
there.
It. Oh man. Anyway, so go ahead, guys. How do you guys feel
question
about
in the chat is Cameroon, Turkey in the World Cup. Cameroon is, Turkey
Cameroon
is not.
Yep.
Cameroon's in, Turkey's not.
All right, boys. So you want to start with Group A with the host nation?
So I will say this was always going to be a weaker group, just because they make the host nation. We're not going to go through the whole draw procedure. Basically, there's 4 pots. Pot 1 has the top ranked teams in it, but they hold a spot for the host country. And
I'm not sure what that means, but
I don't know either.
I think he's asking what group is Colombia in, but I don't know.
Oh, dude, come on, man. We got like 2 viewers. You're gonna piss one of them off. So
looks like we had 3.
I'm kidding.
I know. I can see the count. We got all 7 people watching this.
Hey!
So better than I thought.
Now we got 6. One of them
there went.
Moni dropped off. She heard the Colombia thing. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, Group A was always going to be the one that people wanted to be in because those pot 1 teams are your strongest teams, except they use the host country. Everyone wants that to be Qatar, right? You want that game, but actually, so they're definitely the weakest pot 1 team, but then the rest of it filled out pretty strong. Got Netherlands, who is one of the stronger teams. Then Senegal just won the African Cup of Nations. Ecuador's really tough to play against. So I actually think that everyone's calling that the easy group. I don't think it's that easy. The way I generally look at these groups is you got to finish top 2 to qualify. So if you find 3 teams that can legitimately qualify out of that group, then it becomes challenging to me. Well, then you have to beat someone good.
I think the reason why I think everybody sees it as an easy group, this is just my 2 cents, is all those teams might be evenly matched per se, but they're not the top tier groups, right? So when you look at it, you're like, those teams they're all right, but they're all right and against each other, it may end up being a good matchup, right? That's what I think kind of has people think, well, this is kind of a weak group. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it does, and I think when you start looking at Qatar, like they're probably the worst team in the entire tournament. And I know they're technically at home, but they're not like I mean, this is going to sound insulting. They're not really like a soccer country. Like they're plastic. They imported a lot of the players. There's not like it's not like when you went to like South Africa or, Korea and Japan, and it's like
Right.
it's actually really hard to play there, even if they're not as good on paper, because like that they have that culture there of like soccer that you're playing a road game.
Right.
Like Qatar is just like it's all imported. They bribe people to get the World Cup, and then they put a team together afterwards. It's kind of so I don't think anyone's like worried about having to play in Qatar. So you get that easiest game, but then the problem with that analysis is you got the other three teams. They're all expecting 3 points against Qatar.
Right.
So it's almost like wipe them out. You each got 3 points there. Now you got to beat each
It's
other
like
to actually qualify.
It's kind of like a process of elimination when you kind of think of it. But a lot of people are not giving Ecuador a little bit of love here. Like people seem to forget, because me being Peruvian, like I watched the entire CONMEBOL tournament, when it came to qualifying, and Ecuador for the most part, besides the last month or two, they were always at the top three. They were always up there, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and make a bold prediction here. I think Ecuador is gonna shellac Qatar in the first game. Okay, Qatar's not
I don't
gonna
know
be
how bold that is, though.
That's not exactly bold. I mean,
I'm just saying, 'cause
I thought you were going to say like they were going to
Qatar's
shellac
gonna
the
be able to
Netherlands or
maneuver.
something.
Because when people watch the World Cup, right, and they watch the host country's first game, the environment leading up to it, the home crowd, like we know for a fact it might be 80-10 or 70-30 full of fans, and obviously we've all played sports, right? Like we all run through that, through the emotions and the aggression, but to me, Ecuador is going to just be able to just play their style, which is run and gun, and just outrun these guys. And, Senegal, people don't really know much about besides now because they won the African Cup of Nations. But they have a pretty good squad. And obviously, Netherlands hasn't been the same since they lost the World Cup back in 2010. But they have a lot of young stars. And they kind of progressed a little bit back in the Euros. What was it? Like maybe, was it last year or like so like that? So, yes, Holland is not the same. They don't have a young Van Persie and a Robin and things like that. But they still have quality players that can put the ball in the back of the net. And it's still a top 5 Europe club top 5 team in Europe nationally. So, again, not sexy names, but Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands, I think those 3 teams are going to be in the battle for it. Because just like Bish said, in their eyes, and in my opinion, they know they'll get 3 against Qatar. It's what's going to happen with the rest of the field.
Well, and this is also where that Qatar game becomes huge for 2 reasons. One is you have to get those 3 points. If you don't, you're screwed, essentially. Yep. The second thing is you have to do it by a big margin. It might come down to, let's say, the Netherlands winning all 3 games and getting 9 points, and then Ecuador and Senegal tying each other, and then it comes down to who beat Qatar the worst. That gets through. Right. So you don't just have to beat them; you have to blow them out and get as many goals as you can, because that goal differential, or it could be like multiple ties. It's not necessarily a team getting 9 points out of it. Like when you get into a situation where everyone expects 3 points against a certain team, first you have to capture those 3 points. And you got to do it by a wider margin, because you got to get that advantage there. Otherwise, it can goal differential comes into play real quick in these situations.
Yeah. So I guess what we should do maybe is go group by group and give who the two teams we think are going to make it out of there. What do you think, Manny?
I'm going to go with Netherlands and Ecuador, and then maybe Senegal is one of the thirds to come out.
There's no thirds, I don't think.
No?
No.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. Actually, that's why it's in green.
Hold on. Hold on.
They haven't expanded the World Cup yet. That's for like the next time. So there's 32 teams, 16 qualified.
So it's 2, 2, and 2. Let me.
Yep.
Yeah, it's twos. It's twos.
Yeah,
that's what the green on the table. Obviously,
that makes sense. I get it. Knockout stage, yeah. So
yeah.
Okay,
and that's why I said if there's 3 teams
so it's going to be Netherlands and Ecuador for me.
But that's also why I said it's tough if you have 3 teams that can qualify, because then someone's going home.
What do you think,
and this is one of these groups. I'll go Netherlands and Senegal. Although I agree with Manny, like I don't know why people think Ecuador's a pushover. They're not, but I've been really impressed with Senegal lately, and I think that win in the African Cup of Nations will also boost them.
That's why I'm going to lean Senegal, Netherlands also. But you make a great point. I mean, I didn't know a lot about Ecuador, but just based off of what you said, I think they're going to be a tough out. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, guys. And then also, if you look in the final game on November 29th, Netherlands has Qatar, Ecuador, and Senegal. That game down there might
it'll be the deciding factor.
Which team moves on and which team doesn't, right?
And that's why the goal differential against Qatar and also not getting blown out by Netherlands if you lose that game are so big. Because coming into that game, one of the teams is going to know we just need to tie here. because we have the goal differential, and a tie obviously doesn't alter the goal differential. So all of that matters.
All right, let's move on Group B.
All right, the big one.
Yeah,
Woo!
buddy.
What's
The
the
big one,
Pucks
huh?
on Black Friday?
The big one.
Technically the big one for all of us because we all like the
Yes,
U.S. I know
yes,
we
we
all
are.
kind of
We're
root for other
Americans.
teams, but
We're
listen,
Americans.
yeah, man, I'm glad to see them back in it as well. It's exciting. I saw, as soon as they saw them draw, in the same group as England, I said, oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be real good. And I mean, it's funny that Iran ends up in the group as well,
in the
right?
yeah, the U.S. against Iran in the Middle East. What could go wrong here?
Right.
By the way, for
Saudi
our
Arabia Part
listeners-
2.
Yeah, for our listeners, the UEFA Path A, I believe it's either between Wales and Ukraine. Is that correct?
And Scotland.
And Scotland.
So
And
obviously,
Scotland? Okay.
So this should have all been played over this break, just how like Portugal qualified. And obviously, Ukraine's not in a position to play right now, so they kind of postponed all of that. So they'll have to play Scotland first, and then whoever wins that would play Wales.
Okay.
So Wales is already kind of through to that final game.
Yeah.
So whoever wins between Ukraine and Scotland plays
Wales. So I guess we just start there. Who do we want
Yeah.
out of that?
Well, who do we want and who we think? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I want Wales in there. Wales and England
Really?
don't like each other.
Well,
Yes,
I was thinking.
yes.
Well, I mean, Scotland. Dude, no,
I'm
hold
going
on.
Scotland, man.
Well,
Scotland is
okay,
even
US
worse.
and England, let's
Scotland,
go.
Scotland is even worse. If you want
Scotland,
the hate
okay,
scale,
okay,
Scotland, England's
Scotland.
even.
Well, just for that purpose, I love Scotland.
Fuck
I'd
Scotland.
love to see Scotland get through to play.
Well,
England.
I mean,
That would be awesome.
I was thinking, let them beat the crap out of each other, and we'll just be standing
Now,
by.
I
But that
will
is
say
actually.
this.
For political purposes, I would love to see the Ukraine get through,
Yeah.
of course, with everything
Yeah,
that's going
I
on.
will say this though. It's going to be very important. Look at me about to say Team USA. Am I allowed to say Team USA? Because it's not hockey. It's soccer.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
they're
Well,
always.
it's going to be very important for the U.S. to come out, I think, with 3 points, man. Because in the second game, obviously, you have England, and in the third game, I don't want to toss it up. Oh, all you need is a tie against Iran. No. I truly feel that this squad needs to get off with 3 points whoever they face, man.
Well, and that's why I like that. So we don't know who it's kind of weird. We obviously don't know. Hey, look, got some
Hey,
friends
all
here.
right.
Max is here. We obviously don't know who the first opponent's going to be, which makes that announce a little awkward. But yeah, it's really important that is likely the team that we're competing with to get out of the group stage. Right, you figure England will get through, so it's really going to be USA or that European team as the second team through the group, assuming Iran is not just not going to call. Last time we ended up in a group with Iran, we lost to them, so let's not do that.
Anyway,
98 World Cup, we finished dead last, 32 out of 32.
Oh, that's terrible.
Let's not do that this time.
No,
But
let's not
but
repeat
that
that
first game might be the one that kind of decides who. If to May's point, a draw. Then you get into that whole like goal differential stuff. If you can cut out of there with 3 points, you're in good shape there.
Had to speak some Spanish for football. Thanks, Max.
I will say though, it is good getting Iran last as well, because that
I hope not, Joshua.
Joshua?
Wait.
I don't think it'll get suspended just because.
I mean, listen, Formula One kept going.
I was about to say that was exactly what I was going to use as an example. There's a bomb going off. And then like, no, man, pick out the drive. Like, they're gonna be fine here. But I think it is good to have Iran last, just because like if they need to, if it becomes a goal differential situation, they need to put a lot of goals in there. You can play like really attacking in that game and just go for it.
Let me ask you this question, guys, both of you, right? Your knowledge is a little more extensive than mine, but I keep hearing this a lot, that the U.S. might have some of the best young talent that there is, just all around, right? Like in the world, right? And right now,
yes.
are they up there with some of the top? I'm not saying as a whole team, right? But some of the top young talent that they have. Could that be kind of? I guess it could go either way, right? It could be a hindrance, right, because they're so young. But it could also be, well, hey, they've got this really young talent that can keep up with a lot of the older players, and they can kind of make some noise because they're going to have this excitement. They're going to have this, they're younger, right? So they're going to play with a little bit of a different mentality than maybe some of these other guys. I don't know. How does that work with a team like this? And do you think that's the case with the U.S.?
So I would say it's an unprecedented amount of young talent for the U.S. It is not like when like Spain brought their golden generation through. Like this is not that level.
Or Belgium, right?
Belgium as well, right? Like it is not that level. They're not going to be the most talented team there. For the United States, it's probably the most talent we've had in terms of players playing high level football in Europe. Boy, I went way too European there. Soccer. High level soccer in Europe, but also, playing for big teams, like playing for Barcelona and Chelsea, right? I mean, that is that.
Dortmund,
Yeah, Borussia Dortmund.
Juventus, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these are clubs that typically Americans are not playing at. So it's not just playing in the big leagues; it's playing at some of the better teams in those leagues. But there are other countries where the entire team plays there, not just a handful of people. Sure. So no, it's still not that level. But for the U.S., it's probably one of the more talented teams. Which then, to your point, begs the question: qualified on goal differential. So playing in CONCACAF.
Well, they did. If I looked at, when I looked at it, every time I looked at their lineup or who they put out on the pitch, I mean, they put so many different people, players out there. I mean, is there a kind of a method to that madness?
No, Berhalter's an idiot, but okay. But that's a whole other thing.
Yeah,
I mean, there's all sorts of weird stuff going on there. But end of the day, the qualification was the important thing that happened. We'll see if he can kind of settle on some consistency heading into the tournament. All these friendlies are going to be important. There were key players that were not playing in some of these qualifiers, which sometimes you got an explanation, sometimes you got an explanation that changed every time. Like the big one is John Anthony Brooks, who's the center back. He's played in the World Cup. He scored actually in Brazil, and starting in the Bundesliga, playing really well there, and keeps getting dropped, not getting called up. And earlier, like the last cycle, the explanation was that at that point he was not playing for his club team, so like he's not getting on the field for the club team. I don't want to call him in here. Since then, he's been playing and playing well, and he needs to develop some skills to match what we're trying to do on the field. And everyone's like, I don't know what the F you're even talking about at this point. So there's always drama like that with the national team, but that type of stuff needs to get resolved because that is a weak position for us without him in there. So hopefully some of that gets cleaned up. I think there is a good base starting 11 here with some decent depth to bring people off the bench if we get the right people on the field.
Manny, would you be surprised if anybody in particular gets left off the team? How do you feel this team shapes up for the U.S.?
Well, it's not that will they be left off. It will be if they perform, right? I mean, here's a nation that didn't enter the last World Cup, and they're entering this by winning the Gold Cup. You beat your rival, and you qualify. So obviously the winning habits are now there, right? It's changing. It's not like you had the older guys from the last generation with Dempsey and company where they already knew how it felt to be at a tournament. And in this particular way, it's going to come down to what do we get out of Reina? What do we get out of Pulisic? What do we get out of Des? Well, all these guys that have been playing, overseas and now part of the national team, can they get in some type of groove? Because this is where Team USA has an opportunity, especially knowing that 4 years after this year, guys, they're going to be one of the hosts, right? So I believe that they don't have to be in qualifying, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's generally the case. I think that'll still be the case.
You got 3 of them, right?
That's where there's some question marks as to
whether. Question mark. So, but whether
it should be, they shouldn't have to.
So whether they're in the qualifying or not, though, this is a huge opportunity to not only grow the sport, but for this group of young players to actually come together in this particular situation and just learn about each other, play together, and grow. And I think there's no better situation than the one that they have right in front of them. Now, you ask the question, do you think they'll be left out or to perform? They're going to have to perform. I don't see where, the pressure is on. Do I believe in their coach's tactics sometimes? No. Do I believe sometimes he likes to just sit back and just, create havoc and see, to see where his players are? Well, of course.
It looks like, yeah.
With any new coach getting called up for a national team duties, right? Being in charge of a nation that did not make the World Cup, having all the facilities in the world, all the money, all the resources, okay? Let's be clear here. You have a lot of pressure on you, man. And this is not about you beating Mexico in the Gold Cup. This is not about you making the World Cup. This is about you actually going out there and getting some wins, creating that once, back in the 90s feeling with Kobe Jones and Roy Lassiter and Brian McBride and Andy Lewis and Casey Keller. Look at me naming names. These guys actually played together as a unit with Reina. That's what I want to see. Once again, that Team USA builds a young squad going forward, and they could take advantage of knowing, hey, We host this in 4 years. Our experience is already going to be there. They have a major opportunity here to create and just invite soccer once again for everybody in this country. And I hope they don't lay the egg. I'm just hoping, man.
Well, there's
Because,
a
man,
good point Manny made here. Is the U.S. had made every World Cup since 1990. This generation missed one, so a lot of them, this is going to be their first. Usually, they come in as it's like a mixed team. You have some veterans that played in the last World Cup, and then the young guys, get their feet wet, and then the next time, like, okay, now those guys are the veterans. They missed a cycle. Yep. So a lot of these guys are getting their first World Cup experience as being the main players on the team at the same time, and that's a new one.
Also, Vish, you want to talk about young teams or young national teams that were able to go out and test their waters. Jazz, you are a Spain guy. Luis Enrique said, I'm going to keep Busquets, but I'm going to keep Morata in the team. And I'm going to go young. Give me Pedri. Give me all these young guys.
All these young guys,
And being able to play in a tournament like the Euros last year has paid huge dividends for a national team like that. Now you have the World Cup. You know what you have. You made it all the way to what? The semifinals or whatever it was. So you kind of already know what your young group is going to be. This coach has really no idea what he has. And don't give me, I can see from the Gold Cup, I kind of can see who's on the team. Nah, man, these are the type of games and tournaments that you basically, after every 10 minutes, you write, yes, no, needs more work. Right. But you need to put results on the field as well at the same time. So a lot of pressure goes on Bergonzi.
Look, at the end of the day, I think they need a decent showing in the World Cup to kind of gain some momentum for 4 years from now. I know it's a long ways away, but
yeah, Kai, it doesn't help when you're coached by a PE teacher. I'm with you, bro. This guy.
I don't think anybody likes Berhalter.
Scratches your head, man, and it's like, bro, you have Pulisic in there. Don't put him in the 9 and hold him. Make him go out wide and go run with it. Like, I don't know. Again, I'm not a coach.
All right, so
let's move on to Group C. But before, I'll take the U.S. and England.
Dude, Manny, what the hell, man? I'll also take the U.S. and England. I'm just curious why that was on the screen instead of you hitting the block button.
I just thought it.
All right, I'll also take the U.S. and England, though.
U.S. and England as well.
The guy's name is Master Hacker Clone, for the love of God. Unbelievable.
I will say if the U.S. or England doesn't make it, it'll be unknown team right here. I think that would be the third.
And that would be a big surprise, though, right? It would be a big surprise.
I would say it would be a bit of a surprise. There are some talented players on Ukraine and Wales in particular that, like, I don't necessarily. I don't necessarily trust our backline running against Gareth Bale, to be honest. No. That's kind of scares me.
This is why you have a desk, though, right? This is why you go up to him and say, "Hey, listen, wherever Gareth Bale goes, you go with him." But then now, are you going to sacrifice one side of the field?
Well, I don't know that Dest is up to that. Like, I know Bale hasn't been playing at all for Madrid, but he's still got. When he plays for Wales, you kind of see the old Gareth Bale, and that's not something our I'd rather see Scotland or Ukraine. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, let's put it that way.
Than have to deal with him.
All right, England and the U.S. all across the board, right?
Yep.
All right, Group C. I thought this was an interesting one also because two South American teams kind of, I guess
Mexico's not in South America.
Mexico's not South America, but you know what I mean. I mean, on this side of the world.
Good God.
What was that bing, by the way?
Is Spain in Europe, Josh?
It's
no, man. That's a Latin country.
Well, we've now established Jazz has no idea what the climate is in Peru.
Nope.
And that he thinks Mexico's in South America.
I don't.
All right, here we go.
I don't think it's in South America. Relax.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's. How do you guys feel about this one?
Holy hell, geography.
I don't know what LUL is, but maybe you got to learn how to put LOL instead.
Whoa!
It's getting sensitive here.
All right, guys.
Hey, I can bite back. Why not?
All right, let's also take in consideration, guys, that this seems to be Lionel Messi's last trip to the World Cup, all right? Let's also have that in consideration.
Consideration for what?
No, that maybe, I don't know, maybe he'll, outshine everybody and
he's even
score more than one goal than he has at PSG.
Well, let's be honest, is he even capable of doing that? He looks like he can't run anymore. Like, I know the big storyline's going to be that. It's the rest of the Argentinian players that are going to have to step up and carry that team. It's not.
I like Poland here, man. I think
Poland,
Lewandowski.
I mean, yeah, Lewandowski obviously is
He's on
maybe
fire.
the best striker in the world other than Benzema. So that was for you, Kai.
I don't know much about Arabia here,
This is a
but
Madrid friendly panel, so we're definitely bigging up Kareem on this one. So,
Yeah, we are.
yeah, no, I wonder if Messi kind of. I mean, the one good thing about him playing in France is this is in the middle of the season, right? It's a different time of year. He can kind of, back off a little and save some energy for the tournament itself. Because it is just, it's 3 games in the group stage. They're pretty well spread out. So, you get several days off in between. So if he can just get some energy going, he's obviously still talented. Like when the ball gets to him, he's still got the magic. He just can't cover the field anymore. And he was always a playmaker. If you can't run, you can't do that. So I would expect him to. If I'm him, I'm faking an injury in like September. I just I gotta go back to Argentina to rest up and then I mean, why do you want to play Liga games?
and then you look at the injury report: hamstring tightness, ankle stiffness, and all this other stuff with his lower body. And you're like, yeah, he's just saving himself for November. It's fine.
I would.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's what he's doing now. I think what we've seen now is he can't probably handle the strain of the entire season, but you don't have to do that in a World Cup. It is just a compressed.
Let me ask you this, because a lot of, well, I guess the ones that I know, Mexico fans were really excited for Tata. They're very excited. They saw what he did for Atlanta United. Obviously, we all know that's the MLS. This is a whole bigger animal here. Okay. Have you been impressed by his coaching style and getting his guys motivated? Because it seems like they have a lot of up and downs.
No, and neither are Mexican fans. He was very close to getting fired multiple times in this qualifying cycle. Like it was like one more loss and you're gone. They also, I mean, they qualified on the last day as well. Obviously, they won their game, so they didn't end up in that tie with us on goal differential. But they're they probably, I mean, for the U.S. and Mexico, you finish behind Canada. Like that's not good.
Yeah.
So I think no, he's not been impressive. He, as a national team coach, he's kind of never really taken the country as far as they want. And this group, because this could have gone any way, but because they got Poland in there, that's a legitimate team. Everyone knows Lewandowski, but they have a lot of good depth. They have a decent midfield. That is going to be. I would not like. I as an American, I like our draw a lot better than the one Mexico got. To be honest, because that Poland is better than whatever European team we're gonna get. Yeah. And Argentina is obviously they're Argentina. They're good. Even whether Messi's at his best, he's obviously not anymore. But there's a ton of talent there.
Let me just say one more thing on this group, and then Josh, you can fire away. I think the match here that's going to determine the second, because to me, I think Argentina will move forward. I think the first game here, though, between Mexico and Poland, the result of that, whatever team wins that, I think that will be the clear second going out of this group.
Is Saudi Arabia even a threat to give anybody a game?
No.
Fair enough.
I don't care that they're in their climate either.
I mean, they're a threat, but not to give anyone a game.
Is it warm and muggy there?
I don't know. Let's.
Why don't you ask Peru?
Warm and Jazz's favorite. Oh, there you go. See, there you go.
Top two for you guys out of this one.
Argentina, Poland.
Oof. I'll still go Mexico. Mexico always gets out of the group. One way or another, they find their way through. I'll go. And then Argentina, obviously.
Argentina, Poland. I'll go Argentina, Poland as well. Group D. Let's do it.
Oh, here we go again. Jesus Christ.
Why do you say it like that, Manny? Talk to me. What's going on with Group D?
All right, so Peru has not yet qualified. They obviously have to wait for the winner between Australia and United Fish. Please help me.
United Arab Emirates.
United Emirates or whatever. So
why do you say Vish? Why do you ask Vish?
Because Vish pronounced it pretty correctly and you didn't.
Are you sure that's why? It better be that's why. Better watch it, Manny.
Listen, how about you calm down your climate over there, all right, buddy? This group once again feels like back in 2018. France, Denmark, obviously Australia was in there as well, and then Peru, right? This just feels like they went back in freaking time and they were like, okay, let's make Group D the same one as, it was, back in 18. So It just goes, oh my god, because two of the nationals that I support will probably face each other once again, and it's like, oh, it's kind of frustrating at the same time, because not only is France, 4 years more experienced, because people want to say, well, they sucked at the Euros because they were up 3-1 against Switzerland. Listen, I understand that, but you have a more quicker and faster and more intelligent Mbappe. Not to mention they're going to carry Karim Benzema, right? Karim Benzema, to me, changed the whole dynamic of that France team going forward. So without question, they're going to come out of this group. Now, the question will be, by the way, it's good to see Eriksen back on the field, especially for his country. So, hey, awesome.
That's unbelievable.
Awesome to see.
That's scary, man, to me.
Denmark plays a very solid way of soccer, and that's they defend very well, and they possess and they create opportunities. Will that then carry on into the tournament? Because to qualify, they didn't play a lot of big teams, like not many that I saw on their own freaking schedule when they were qualifying. But can they commit going forward with that? I don't think Tunisia is going to be any issues. Again, does Peru get in? Does Australia get in? I don't think the United, as Vish pronounced them, I don't know much about them.
That one's not even a hard one. It's United Arab Emirates.
You can just say UAB, bro.
Bro, it sounds like an airline to me. Like, I don't even know.
Just say UAB.
Don't say UAB. Say UAE if you want to go there, unless you're playing.
I'm sorry, UAE.
Unless you're playing Alabama Birmingham.
The University of Alabama Birmingham.
Or the AFC North against Commonwealth.
UFC North. Listen, if Peru's in there, they're going to give these teams once again a little bit of trouble. If Australia's in there, again, I don't know much about Australia. I saw them last World Cup and they looked absolutely abysmal. I think the best part of their team was, their fans that traveled very well, and that's about it. But for me, it's France is going to move forward. If Peru gets in, it's going to be tough, man, because the way that Denmark has once again gotten, they've gotten inspired by Eriksen's return. It's kind of tough to see if
they had a pretty decent showing at the Euros, also, right? Denmark.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I mean, even without Eriksen,
even without him,
even without him. So again, it's all about momentum here, right? Because we know about the top teams. The top team in each group, personally, they're all going to move forward. What about the second team against the third, fourth? What's the ratio of that? So nothing against Tunisia. I don't know much about Tunisia, which tells me they're not that good. Denmark and whoever comes out of there,
beautiful country.
So I mean, don't pull up a map and ask Jazz to point out, because there's no way that's happening. But no, Tunisia's got a
match here, right? You look at the final match here again on November 30th. If it's Peru against Denmark, that might determine the winner for the second team to lead the group.
I'll just throw this out there. I am familiar with Tunisia a little bit.
Of course,
they have a pretty rich soccer history. They've qualified for this tournament many times. They are consistently in the knockout stage of the African Cup of Nations. They're not a pushover. And if Denmark comes in there with the same attitude you two just displayed, I wouldn't be surprised if they tie or win that opening game. And then
of course,
the next
Vish
thing you know,
knows about Tunisia.
Then the next thing you know, like, oops, Tunisia's actually I don't think they're I don't think they're a pushover. I do think France is kind of the class of this group, but I think the other three are a lot more even.
Kai, that's a yes, by the way. That's a definitive yes.
Oh, so at your house?
I mean, if you could fit everybody in my
you know what? The USA England game's on Black Friday. We might have to throw like the mother of all.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna happen.
Where does Ethan live? Let's just all show up to his house.
No, I don't want to go to Ethan's house.
Yeah, no, there might be some strange people.
We can go to Fritz and Franz or whatever that place is called here in the Gables.
That place closed.
But no, it's open. It's under a different name now, but they still show soccer and all that.
Oh.
Whatever, we'll figure that out.
Group D.
We got time.
Group D, who are your top two in Group D?
You're asking me?
Yeah, both of you.
I'm gonna say France. If Peru gets in, Peru. If Peru doesn't get in, if it's Australia, then Denmark.
All right, I'll go France and I'll go Peru. I'm not even gonna do the qualifier. I'm gonna say they're gonna get in and they're gonna finish second.
There we go.
Awesome.
And I actually like, though, that if Peru gets in, they'll have to face France right out of the gate, so they'll know what results they'll need the next two games. That was the issue with us in the World Cup 4 years ago. We outplayed Denmark. Denmark had like 3 shots on goal, and they ended up scoring, and we missed a penalty kick in the final minutes to tie it up.
I'm gonna root for Peru also. First of all, for my boy Manny, and second of all, because, I mean, It's warm and muggy over there.
You
Anyways,
mean-
continue. Group.
You mean even with your clear Tunisian roots, you're gonna?
Yeah. By the way, I'm wearing maroon today for Qatar. By the way. Anyways.
There we go.
yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Here we go.
Summer. Okay, so some are calling
By the
Group
way,
E.
rest in peace, Costa Rica.
Yeah.
If they move forward. If they move forward.
Rest in peace, New Zealand too. I guess.
Well,
Right?
New Zealand too.
Some are calling this group the group of death. How do you feel about that? Is it the group of death?
I don't agree with that because again, the way I view it, I think Germany and Spain could each win the tournament.
Right.
But then Japan is the third best team. I think there's other third best teams, so it's in a way it's easier to get out of this group for the top two teams
That makes
than
sense.
if you have another team. Now, with that being said, like yikes, at the top line, like basically as you said, like Costa Rica and Japan are, I assume it's Costa Rica or New Zealand, whatever, and Japan are kind of screwed here. There is no way you're going to accumulate the points to get out of this. Because even if, you make, like, what can happen, the way you get those upsets, obviously, is like, oh, Spain doesn't take a game seriously and they blow it. You still then got to go get points against Germany anyway. It's just like, that's not, that is just, I feel like this is a tough one for me to see anyone other than Spain and Germany getting out of. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough group for Kai, right? That's
Kai,
interesting.
listen, I feel you, man. I'm in the same situation in freaking Group D. It's like, damn, bro. Like, really?
It's your French
All the
roots,
teams?
Manny. It's your French roots. My Tunisian roots in that one, apparently.
Guys, listen.
Oh, man.
Last year in the Euros, we had France, Germany, and Portugal, and I forgot the fourth team that was in the Euro group. That's a group of death. This is not a group of death. You need to have a clear third that could possibly get to the semis or even win it. Okay?
Yeah.
Nothing against Japan. I mean, I know
But they're not a clear third. they're
not
not
a clear third.
Yeah.
Costa Rica and New Zealand. No. I'm sorry. Like I'm trying to be as honest as it comes.
We don't have any Costa Rican listeners, do we?
And listen, I don't mean to offend them, but it's
I love Costa Rica, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And
no.
it's also not South America, in case.
Now, I'm very proud. I'm very happy the way that the scheduling worked, right? Because it would suck if Spain and Germany were in the final game. They're playing in the second match.
Second game, yeah.
In the second game. So either way, they won't really know who has the upper hand yet, per se. And obviously, being in the second match, you want to get a win. Because heading into the third, again, when both teams play at the same time in the final match, the whole thing, like Vish said, the goal differentials come into place and the win and the tiebreakers go back and forth. So I think having Spain and Germany, I think that game in the second match of this group might actually determine who goes out first, who goes out second, because that's huge right there without question.
Yeah, that you made a perfect sense there. That's going to determine who goes one or two, really. That because at this point we all know anybody that's coming in from that.
Hungary. You're right.
That playing game.
You're right. You know what? In the group of death in the final game,
is Hungary the one that Germany lost to
was
Hungary,
the one
right?
that gave a lot of teams issues. So I'm sorry, but that's not Costa Rica, New Zealand, or Japan. I'm not going to even go out of there.
Yeah,
Guys, let's not forget, though, Hungary was able to travel with their fans in the first game that they tied with France. They brought a shitload of people to wherever the location was. The location is staying in Qatar. They're not going from country to country and things like that like they did in the Euros. So
right. Obviously, I'm a big Spain
La Roja, right?
Spain fan. La Roja.
La Roja.
La Roja. I mean, like you mentioned it earlier, Manny. They've got some young talent, some pretty young guys that
Time to see Pedri on the big stage.
Pedri and Gavi and Ferran Torres. I'm just scared with Morata, and I think Vish, we spoke about this as well. That I just don't feel he's a true nine. He doesn't perform well. He didn't perform well the last time out. I think it was in the Euros. He just didn't play that well, and so I'm a little concerned with him. But at the end of the day, I still think that they have enough to really compete and possibly, go down to the wire and be a force in this tournament. So we'll see. But yeah, it's clearly Spain and Germany. I mean, it's kind of hard to go.
Yeah, and I think we're all on the Spain and Germany kind of coming out of this group.
And then obviously when you're looking at names, you have Pedri for Spain, Havertz for Germany. Like those are the young players. Like Jazz, like you want to talk about young players coming to their own to see if they can finally put a stamp on a national team for years and years to come. I think those
Those are the guys.
two names going forward are just going to be, top names that you're going to want to see. Yes, playing in the Champions League and winning Champions League cups is great, and it's wonderful. But when you have the pressure of your national team on your back, and this is your first World Cup appearance, and you're playing Spain, and you know that, hey, head to head in the second match on November 27th, this could be possibly whether you face a very seeded, low seeded group or compared to a high seeded group. You want to see those young guys start. And yes, I'm sorry, Kai, I forgot your other guy, Jamal Musiala.
Here's a question I have, and Vish, I spoke about this with you off air also, is who's going to be the keeper for Spain, right? So you've got Unai Simon, you've got is De Gea still even a possibility? Raya, I mean, what do you think? What's going on there?
I mean, they have options. I still think if De Gea is playing well, that's who Luis Enrique will go with. He's got his guys in there. It was kind of weird because he stuck with him when he was playing like ass.
Right.
And now he's been playing well for Manchester United, and he didn't call him in. So I don't know what's going on there. But,
weird. Yeah.
But my guess is by the time the World Cup comes around, if David De Gea continues this form,
I think it's either De Gea or Simon. I think it's one of those two.
I think if De Gea is playing like he is now for the next few months and through the beginning of next year, it's a no-brainer.
And by the way, Simon had a pretty decent showing in the Euros as well. So
no, he's good.
He's good.
He's got a lot of depth at that position.
Yeah.
By the way, Jazz, one thing for sure is that Luis Enrique will be calling up Sergio Busquets once again. That's for a fact.
Well, I mean, we don't need to get into Luis Enrique intentionally not calling in Real Madrid players, but
whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Listen, once they lose, they can't blame on that, right? Oops, sorry, Josh.
All right. Anyways,
all right.
They're not gonna lose. Yeah, they are. Maybe.
Ooh, I like this. This to me might be.
This might be the group of death.
Yes, absolutely.
This is 4 teams that you could see coming out of it potentially. Mm-hmm. So that's what makes it the group of death, right? Because it's still damn.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, even Canada. I mean, we got to give them credit, right? They finished first.
They finished on top of CONCACAF qualifying, which got them a nice spot in pot 4 in this draw.
I couldn't name a player on Canada's team, but that's me. I'm sure you guys could.
I'll let Kai do it.
Guys, by the way, guys,
there's kind of a famous one that plays for Bayern Munich.
Oh yeah, well, there you go.
I'm here trying to find the rankings here. So the least ranked team in his group, guys, is Canada at 38. That's not bad. So you basically have four teams here, 4 national teams that it ranges from either being top 5 or all the way at least up to top 38. But we've seen Canada play, and they basically led the CONCACAF qualifying probably the whole entire way, right? I mean, that right there is impressive. Is as impressive, if anything.
Listen, you have a team in this group that made it to the finals 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? And they're not even.
But they're going younger, but they're also still bringing back Modric and company. I
don't know if Modric is the same that he was, obviously.
No. Oh, by the way, Belgium has to win something soon, guys. When are we going to actually see that happen?
Well, I think a lot of people said that their chance was when a while
back. It was last year when they lost to Portugal.
Last year, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I don't know, Joe, but I'm just saying though.
But that's what they use for the seeding.
Yeah, pretty much. So
that's what determined the pots. So, as worth as it is, all that that Gold Cup the U.S. won and stuff is what got them into pot 2. Because all those are official FIFA matches. They count in those rankings.
This one's tough.
Well, the other thing is Belgium's a lot of their key players. You got Lukaku now, not really playing.
And
Hazard doesn't play.
Correct.
This is not
Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah,
going to be on what's that player from Atletico Madrid? Very, very, very shifty. I forgot his name. Listen, Thibaut Courtois might have to make 20 saves a game.
Yeah,
because I do not trust their defense. I'm just saying.
Well, he's up to it, but
correct.
He's best goalkeeper in the world. So I mean, if you got to go in with that, then you go in with that.
All right, so who's your top 2 on this one? This is tough.
This one's tough, and we haven't even talked about Morocco. Who's really good too.
They are.
Without Haji.
I'm gonna. You know what? I'll start first. I'll go Belgium and Morocco. I think Morocco's got it. I think they're talented enough to compete, and I'll go Belgium and Morocco. It'll be tough because it's gonna be at the end. Look, Oh no, it's Morocco and Canada at the end. So
I'm gonna shock people. I'm gonna say Canada and Croatia.
wow.
Whoa, okay,
Yes.
that did actually shock us
Yeah,
this
that
time.
is
I'm gonna
shock.
go with
That's
this
a
shock
bold-
upset
I
of
think
Qatar
Canada's
losing.
momentum, man. I think Canada's momentum, man. They are really well coached. They play together. They play possession ball, and when Alphonso Davies goes out on the run, there's nobody else better that can just create so many more chances up front, man. I'm sorry. I'm going Canada.
This podcast is not sponsored by Madrid, but we're open
No.
for sponsorship if they want to.
Listen, I am by the phone waiting for Mao to call me, okay? Estrella, go away. All right, let's go.
Fish, who do you got? Who do you got, Fish?
I guess I'll go Belgium first, although I don't feel great about it. And I'll go Croatia second.
So we all got
Guys,
different
are
ones.
you writing these down, by the way?
No, but
It's being recorded.
Yeah, it's being recorded. We'll go back to it.
We'll probably change after we're going to come back after Peru officially qualifies and talk about it. So
Yeah,
we'll
I'm
probably
sure we
change
will.
everything.
All right, so let's finish up with what we got. Two more groups
Two
left.
more groups, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So Group G.
Oh.
This is an interesting one, right?
Brazil.
I mean, could you have given Brazil, the number one ranked FIFA national team in the world, any more easy route? Like, come on. Jesus.
What?
Nothing against Switzerland, but I don't think it's going to be.
Okay, I had the complete opposite reaction. This group is
Yeah.
tough.
I thought it was tough. I think Cameroon is going to give people a run for their money.
Cameroon is good. Switzerland is good. Serbia is good. Like, Brazil will get out of the group because they're Brazil, but this is not
Yeah.
an easy group, dude. What are you
This
talking
is,
about?
this is easy. This has Brazil, Switzerland written all over it.
Really? You're just going to
wow.
dismiss the Serbians?
Why
and
then?
Cameroon?
Let's not even talk about this group then.
Serbia, what's your weather? Ow. Cameroon, are you going to be wearing yellow socks today? Ow. That's it.
Is it hot? Is it warm and muggy in Cameroon? If
Actually, I
if it is,
think
then fine.
Cameroon passes Jazz's test on the weather, so
There we go. Then they're in. They're actually might be my number one.
although I
Cameroon, you
think
are
Brazil
sponsored by
works
Puma.
too, though. So
Brazil does work also. You see, this is my group. This is my kind of group right here, Group G. You know, forget about Serbia and Switzerland. They don't know what they're
I'm
doing.
pretty surprised, man. More seriously, that you're just dismissing Serbia and Cameroon as.
Listen, Brazil means business this year. I don't see
Well, I hope so.
none of these teams.
I'm not
giving
suggesting
fight.
that they're not going to get. I think Brazil will win this group because I think Brazil. I mean, spoiler alert, is going to
They're
win the whole
taking- they're taking a
tournament.
couple of our boys with
9
them,
out
right?
of 9. Brazil is getting 9 out of 9.
They're taking a couple
Guaranteed.
of our boys with them, right? A couple of our Madrid boys with them, right?
Vinicius,
Yes.
Casemiro,
Casemiro,
our defensive back,
Militao.
Militao. Yeah.
Yes.
Militao. Yeah.
Maybe they'll
Alright.
give Marcelo a ticket. You know,
Maybe.
things are happening.
No. That man needs to be on the Real Madrid board, just like
He's
Roberto Carlos.
he's retiring in a few months. Leave that club
Yeah,
legend
I'm
alone.
sure he's going to be done. soon.
And Rodrigo's not out of the picture too as a bench player.
I don't like Rodrigo.
We're not talking about Real Madrid right now. We're talking about
I
Real
know.
Madrid players that might play for Brazil.
Oh,
But yes,
man.
this is like the opposite of Spain, where everyone shows up that's playing for Barcelona. This is our team right here. It's
Yeah.
Madrid all over this.
Joe's throwing out the Serbian player names. Nice. I like that.
Son,
Vlahovic, yeah,
right? Vlahovic?
yeah.
I don't. It's not spelled like that, but I think it's pronounced that way. So that's fine. We'll go with that because God knows I'm not going to be able.
I don't think it's spelled like that
Right.
because the weather
It's
doesn't.
Vlahovic. It's not
just doesn't look-
Brobic, but no, he's awesome.
Just based on the weather here, it doesn't look like it's spelled right.
It's
But-
kind of turning dark, so it's do Dusan
All right. So who do you guys have here as your top two here? I'm going to go with Vish first because Vish thinks it's tougher than Matt.
Yeah, it's Brazil, and you know what? I'll go Cameroon.
Oh, all right.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to go Brazil, Cameroon also. So I got to hear this, Manny.
What a
What do you got?
sucker. Listen, Brazil. I'm going to go for Brazil, and I'm going to go for my man Alex's team from the Fifth Line show that covers hockey. Switzerland, baby.
Nice.
With-
All right.
The Swiss with the beautiful cross right there.
I think this is going to be a really competitive group. So
it will be.
moving forward, Group
Brazil
A.
is getting 9 out of 9. I don't
Yeah.
care what you
For
Yes,
sure.
because they have all these Madrid players. Of course they're getting
Of course
9
they do.
What are we talking about?
So secretly, we're all going for Brazil, sort of, kind of.
I mean, I already told you before. Even they're my second team
That's
because my
true.
best friend's
That's true.
Brazilian, so he co-opted it. He cheers for the USA. I cheer for
All right, they'll
Brazil.
be my third favorite.
So
All
Group
right.
H, finally, Group H, the hardest one of all, baby. Not really, but
that's what I'm saying. Did I miss something? I mean, it's not bad, but
it was a
Like
joke.
Messi,
It's not
Ronaldo's
fair.
final World Cup, maybe.
Yeah, it's not terrible, right? It's not a
No,
terrible
no,
group, is it?
it's another one where you're looking, and even South Korea is not an easy out. Like there's four viable teams here. There's no weakling to beat up on.
Right.
You guys are gonna like know right away why I am picking these nations to move on once I say them.
Well, I mean, why wait?
The floor
Why
is
bury
yours,
the
my
lead? Why
friend.
bury the lead, man?
Portugal and Uruguay, baby.
Oh, no way! Shocker.
Cristiano Ronaldo will be the player of the group, followed by Federico Valverde. Let's go. Move forward. No. In all honesty, I think that South Korea might get a little bit of people surprised, but they play really well. Ghana, I don't know much about Ghana, Vish. Maybe you know much about Ghana due to climate change.
Of course,
Dude,
Vish
climate
knows about
change.
Ghana.
Like what in that?
Of course, Vish knows about Ghana.
that is a great point Joe just made that you're sharing up there. Yeah, they're very evenly matched. None of these teams is gonna like win the World Cup, but yeah, I guess that works too. ACC. I don't think Portugal is strong enough to win the World Cup.
We have seen though in the last couple of weeks with Portugal how they're not surrounding all about Ronaldo, right? They're letting him do his runs and they're finding him the ball. Everybody else is, basically they're gaining the ball and they're pushing forward and they're creating chances for everybody. I think that's what was missing before, when Portugal was struggling, because I think they were always trying to get Ronaldo the ball, right? No matter what. And obviously, we all know why.
I mean, they won the Euros doing that, so.
Correct. But once they figured out that, listen, Ronaldo, you create your runs. We know that you're going to create the double teams. We'll find you in the box. Let's let our young guys just run and go at it. And I think maybe João Felix has an opportunity here to once again create that spark that Portugal needs in a youngster that could kind of balance it out with Ronaldo in this group. Not saying it will happen, but you never know.
I'm going to give you guys a name that, you stole my thunder. I was about to say something funny. I was gonna give you guys a name. Thomas Partey from Arsenal. I think he's gonna be a player to watch in this tournament in this group.
I actually just got his card too from Arsenal. So
of course you did.
Nice.
You and your cards.
Oh, I have something to show you guys.
Have you gotten Vish's Tunisian player cards?
That's gonna increase in value, man. Trust me.
The Tunisian player cards. Yeah, I saw that already. Whatever, Toto.
I mean, this is not
Sorry.
Apex. Although watch hitting the Apex at 9:30 on Wednesdays.
Yes.
But hey, Mercedes is still having issues. And okay, sorry, wrong show.
So is everybody in agreement here? It's Portugal and Uruguay.
No, I am not in agreement. I think Uruguay is one cycle too late. I mean,
they don't have any forwards though, Vish.
They're still. I'm assuming going to roll out Cavani and Suarez. And that's to me one World Cup too many for them. And actually, I'll take Ghana as the second team.
Nice.
But I agree with what Joe said. I think these are really good teams that if you put them in other groups other than like the one with Spain and Germany in it, they could get out of it. But I don't see any of these teams as threatening to actually win the World Cup.
Fair enough.
I think it's probably the only, I guess maybe Group A as well, that you look at and you say probably no one here is going to win.
Right. Yeah, and all the other groups, there's someone that's maybe got a shot. So I agree. Manny, you went Portugal and Uruguay, right?
I'm going to change a little bit. I was just kidding. I'm going to go with Portugal and South Korea.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'll just go, just to be different, Portugal and Uruguay then.
Yes.
There we go.
All right, guys. Now that we finished with the groups, a question that people kept asking us now during the show, by the way, thank you for still being here after 53 minutes. Who is our sleeper? Who is one team that people probably aren't thinking about, doesn't have big-time names, but you can possibly see them even making it, maybe in the Final Four, maybe in the Elite Eight, per se?
Sleeper team, right? It's
yes.
I don't know, Vish, maybe you want to start this first.
I mean, what is considered? Are we talking about just teams that weren't in pots 1 or 2? Like, what are we talking about?
Okay. I'm gonna probably say a team like Mexico, maybe the U.S., right? Because they have one name, but we've never seen them in action, right? Maybe Ecuador gets through, because in our minds we're thinking France, Germany, Spain, Brazil, Belgium, maybe, right? So that right there, if you have a team like Canada that move forward, even Morocco, maybe, like that's definitely.
I'll start first. I'll go Morocco. I think they're a sleeper. to get
Why? Because they're climate change.
because I'm wearing Moroccan colors. I don't even know if that's
those aren't Moroccan colors. They're green. All right,
you sure?
Jeez.
Are you sure? I'm gonna say Qatar then because I'm wearing Qatar
Oh
colors.
God! Don't do that, dude. Don't do that.
Is anybody wearing orange and green?
I
Is there any
mean,
Cameroon.
Cameroon?
no, Cameroon is not orange and green. Ivory Coast is.
Ivory Coast is,
but they didn't make it.
They didn't
Yeah,
make it, no.
I think it's been a bad year for the orange and green crew.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, Joe says it's England's year.
All right, well let's answer your question, then we can talk about who we think is going to actually win.
All right, I'll be serious. Go.
No, look at that. That's a sleeper right there. Senegal. That's a sleeper right there.
Who's your sleeper, Vish?
I'll
Let's
go Cameroon.
Cameroon. Yeah, because these are the colors.
Oh, God.
Vish gets so upset at those.
It's going to be an international incident. That's all I'm worried about here.
I'm going to go Morocco.
At least we'll go viral then.
I'm going to go Morocco also. I'm going to
go Morocco because their climate changes are muggy, and very sweaty. There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
Use jazz
Your
logic.
favorite.
I'm gonna go Morocco because the shampoo I use has Moroccan oil on it.
Jesus
There
Christ.
you go. There you go. That's as good a reason as any.
Yeah,
Who are we picking to win it all? Let's go.
La Roja.
Oh my God. Vish.
Is it a stupid guess? No, it's not.
I would be pretty surprised if this version of Spain won, but
Correct.
But it's not a stupid pick. It's not like I'm gonna pick Senegal to win it all.
I think Brazil wins it, man. I think Brazil, after not being up there for a little bit, I think it's they might be on their way to win their 6th World Cup.
yeah, I'll go Brazil as well.
We'll go Brazil. Yes, Joe, I'm with you. Spain to me is a little bit too early.
They might be. I get it. I understand that. Yeah. I trust me. I do understand that. But I mean,
now if we see a France-Brazil final, '98 final, that would be great.
You'll definitely go for France, right?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well, Vish will go for Brazil.
There's more Madrid players on France than there are in Brazil.
No, there aren't.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a lot of guys, okay?
The best one. The best one.
Zizou.
Talking about, there's like a bit of Brazil to Real Madrid pipeline for decades, and there's 3 current starters. So
the best one, right?
Joe, here's my issues with England. I've picked them before in tournaments, and they've made finals, and they lose. So it's like I don't want to keep picking them if they're not going to make it. They're
pretty talented. They're pretty talented
for the Premier League. They just don't get it together when they need to. It's like I picked them before. I picked them last year to win, and look what the hell happened. Germany going to win it all. Listen, if Havertz has the time of his life, by the way, Germany is playing much better.
And I wouldn't expect
without Lowe being in there.
I wouldn't expect Kai to choose anybody else either. See, he's got the right idea. Gotta choose.
I know that Kai's sleeper is Japan, so there you go. England also has a PE teacher. Oh, that's also
all right.
So I'll just say this as we're kind of wrapping up here, but I don't dislike England. I just didn't pick them to win it. I think they can go very far in this tournament. So ask why I don't like them. No, I think they're going to win the group pretty easily.
Does Sancho grow up? Does Harry Kane show up once again like it did last year? You know, is their midfield really their midfield? They're just going to run sporadically all over the place and possess it 100 times and not do anything with it. Like, you know, even the previous World Cup, right? They lost to Croatia, in the PKs extra time.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yeah, but I mean, they got Modric. It happens.
You're right. They got
I have to go to Target, guys.
Alrighty.
Wow.
Enough is enough.
I'm on my way to dinner.
All right.
Are we doing a Champions League show here soon?
We can talk about the Madrid game on Wednesday, depending on the result.
Sure, on Wednesday, there you go.
Yeah, we don't have anything else going on Wednesday, so let's cram another show in there.
I don't think Spain, Germany, France are going to win the World Cup. Oh well.
Anyway, maybe we'll do a Champions League kind of wrap up on Thursday. How about that? I think Wednesday's a little crowded.
You are gonna have Jazz sitting in the chair for 3 hours on Wednesday without getting up if he has 3 shows to do.
It's not just Jazz. I do the same shows, man. I'm thinking of myself. I don't care about Jazz. I'm talking about my own well-being here.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, Joe. We will for sure do a Champions League thing. We're getting down.
And we'll do something again when Peru qualifies. So we'll do something.
Yeah,
that will be in June.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll do something else.
That'll be in June.
All right, fellas.
It's going to be really weird, right, to see leagues begin in the fall and then all of a sudden stop. Hey, you got a World Cup to play.
And that's why like Messi needs to fake an injury in September. Be like, you know what? I'm out like a month and a
Again,
half.
leg tightness, muscle cramps, ankle stiffness. Here you go, Leonardo.
All right, let's let
Ronaldo,
Jazz
oh,
go to Target, and yeah, we'll be back. We'll do some Champions League stuff next week at some point. So
We'll be back.
Hitting the Apex Wednesdays at 9:30.
yeah, and
Yep. And Six Rings Kings.
yeah, go ahead and
I don't know anything about that.
Sixers
show. Bye,
Kings at
guys.
8:30 on Wednesdays.
I'll let